Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Hey there, and welcome back to the Happy Healthy Life Podcast with your host, Rob and Randy.
What is up, guys?
How's it going?
How's it going with you, Dr. Rob?
Fantastic. We just got back from Good Morning, Texas, helping the folks here in Dallas-Fort Worth be happier and healthier, talking about losing weight through the holidays and how that's entirely possible. So giving people solutions, which is obviously what it is that we love to do. And really losing weight is a side effect of getting yourself healthier. We're going to show you guys how to do that today, mind, body, and spirit, because we're going to continue what we were talking about on the last podcast, which was what it is that we learned at the Arete Syndicate with Frisella and Mylett, talking about, I think it's so powerful that we would be amiss to not talk about the nuggets that they were dropping there. And then also relating that to our listeners to be able to make it relevant to helping them heal their metabolism, get healthier, and do that mind, body, and spirit. Because like we talked about last week, when it comes to teaching principles cross all lines, whether we're talking about your mindset, your health, your wealth, your spiritual life, all those things. So let's get into it today. You know, last week we talked about 4 things that we had learned. As we continue with that, the next thing that Ed had said is he said that you should live with intention. Your mindset in who it is that you are when you wake up in the morning should be intentional. And I love that he said that, because one of the things that I love doing every day, as you know, is I journal every day, and I like to write down what my intention is for the day. Because I think for a lot of people, they wake up and the day lets them know what the day's intention is for them, right?
Right, totally.
We talked about like checking emails or social media or whatever that looks like. So rather than actually going, hey, you know what? I'm going to win the day, you let the day win you.
Yeah, you already wake up and you're behind the 8 ball, so to say, which is why the things we're talking about, like in a podcast of the nature of what we're going to do coming off that seminar, is really about setting that intention, because we love to talk metabolism, talk about all those fun things, but nothing really changes until we start working and correcting this stuff. This is the stuff that really ultimately matters, because you really don't change your habits until you change the way you think and you set the right intentions for yourself. And I know for myself, if I wake up and I don't start with that gratitude and really asking God and setting that in motion for my life and my day, it can really, you could blink twice, it's already 11 o'clock in the morning. You're like, dang, I've got my butt kicked today because I didn't seize control of that. And you always have to do that because our mind is constantly taking us down some rabbit trail to throw us off. So I love that about setting that intention. And Ed couldn't be more right, especially when it comes to what do you want to get from your day? What do you want to get from your life? And I think for me, I don't want to speak for you, but probably the same thing is I really find myself, sometimes it's setting that intention minute by minute, because you can really, as the day, because things can change on a dime in a hurry, sometimes just taking yourself back to really your purpose, your why, what is it that you want for your life? And those things really, really matter.
They do. And one of the things that he said is you live with intention, not your abilities, because your ability will always let you down. So if my ability is to always be getting better, I may not have had the ability before, but because my intention is always to be getting better, I am going to have that. And then that's where the massive success comes from. So even like with our program, for example, I love that when somebody comes in here, we help point them in a direction to be intentional about how they go through their day.
Yeah.
So as they're going through their success journal or their success manual that they get from us, they're able to open that up first thing in the morning. There's a positive affirmation right there for them. We're giving them videos, giving them positive affirmations first thing in the morning. And then they know exactly what it is that they need to do for that day, because the plan that they have has been customized and designed specifically for them so that they can be intentional about what it is that they're putting into their bodies as far as their nutrition goes, their mind goes, and how to do those things. And they're not just winging it, right? Because when you're winging it, and let's say you get hungry, then the next thing you know, you're in the drive-through at Chick-fil-A going, I think I'm making a healthy choice right now because it's chicken.
Yeah, the results aren't based off luck. They're based off intention. Yeah. So if you are intentional about your day, then when those things happen or rear their ugly heads, it's easy to squash those things or crush those things and stay on course for the day. So it's even what Ed talked about, Ed Mylett, as we're talking about Ed from last week, which when he said being addicted to the expansion of your being, which is always working on being your best version, which is really our responsibility. And it's really the obligation we have to be our best version. And I don't know anybody who's going to be their best version if they're not living life with intention. I just don't know those people.
Absolutely. And so let's, as we make this practical, because you're going to be listening to this podcast, it'll come out Friday. And so it's going to be the Friday before Thanksgiving. So as an example, today, when we're at Good Morning Texas, there was another guest that happened to be in the studio. And they were like, hey, so what do you guys do? And we said, hey, we help people lose weight. We help people heal their metabolism. And the first thing that she said was, I can never do that, especially right now.
Yeah.
And she said, I can't do this right now because I want to eat the turkey on Thanksgiving.
And what did I say to her? I'm like, well, with all due respect, I don't think turkey is the problem.
Well, turkey was definitely not the problem. It was all the other stuff that she might be eating.
But it was already in her mind. She'd already given herself permission to literally live non-intentional basically the next 2 months and just eat and do whatever she wants to do. And the thought of making any changes, she was so resistant to that. And it was really sad because I'm thinking, this is a woman, who, I don't even, what were they even there for? Do you even remember?
I don't know.
Whatever she does in life, but you're thinking like, what is her health like? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. And you have to remember that. So sometimes our health can really be a barometer, a gauge of how we're doing everything in life. And so I just don't want to be that person that immediately when something maybe creates a little bit of pain in my life to be the person to go, well, that's not for me, or directly give pushback. I really want to take a step back and go, maybe this is something that I probably should do. In fact, usually when you're the person that's saying that's not for me, guess who it's for?
That's for you.
It's exactly custom made for you.
Yes. And so as you're saying that, I'm thinking, you know what? She was intentional. Her intention was to have no intention with however she was doing life and or her health through the holidays. And not a slight against her, but I think that as a society, it's kind of what we've been taught is just to do what everybody else is doing right now. And that's not pay attention to my health right now. And it's like you've been given that permission slip right now to completely forget about it. Well, why not think about it this way and go, you know what? My intention is that I'm a healthy, fit person. And so if that's my intention for today, then my actions are going to reflect that.
Yep.
So maybe that morning on Thanksgiving, you wake up and you go do a turkey trot, right? Or you go run your 3.5 miles. And then, you know what? You eat the Thanksgiving dinner. If you've been through our program, you've got a healed metabolism, so you can withstand throwing all those calories into you and not worry about losing weight.
Yeah.
How about then eat whatever you're going to eat there, but rather than just stay in that place for the rest of the holidays, then go back to doing what a healthy, fit person should be doing, immediately following that. And you could have that as your intention.
Absolutely. You don't want to be making a Friends reference for those of us who all grew up watching Friends. You don't want to be like Rachel and be on a non-plan plan. Now she says, I'm not on a non-plan plan, but a lot of us end up, that's what we're describing. You're on a non-plan plan. What is your intention? I like how you said that. If it's to be fit, to be your best version, then it's really easy. Listen, it doesn't mean being perfect. It just means being aware of the moment and taking the opportunity to go, you know what? I'm not going to just walk into this Thanksgiving day with no plan. I don't want to walk into any day or any situation without some type of a plan or a strategy or some type of marker to measure it against, because I know me is I know I will let me down And I don't just want to trust my abilities or my willpower. I want to think higher than that. I don't want to function like a rat every day thinking, that rodent mentality, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs where, a rat wakes up, they don't have any intention other than they don't want to die. They want to find food, shelter, they maybe want to procreate. There's no intention behind their day. They're not thinking about being fit or being around for their kids or leaving a legacy. So we're not rodents. We're created in God's image and we have a higher purpose. So the intention behind that, I think, cannot be overstated.
I don't know that their intention is to procreate and they're thinking about it that way. I think they just want to have sex.
Yeah, it's exactly. I was trying to be like this really politically correct. And I'm not, who am I kidding? I'm not politically correct at all. They want to hump and find food and shelter.
Exactly. I'm like, that was funny. But as you were talking about friends, I thought you were going to make reference to Joey when they're having Thanksgiving and he puts on the Thanksgiving pants, which are actually the pregnancy pants.
Right.
So yeah, that's how you may feel. So all right. So let's go into the next thing that they talked about. So one of the things, they being Ed talked about, if you're going to be successful people, they associate or around people who are better than them, right? Yeah. You always want to be people that are around people that are at a higher level than you. Yeah. And so even like, with us, and I wrote that quote down that I listened to this morning from Roy Vaden. Yeah. And he said, you're most qualified and capable to help the person you used to be. So why not be around those people who were at where you're at right now to help lift you up to where it is that you want to go? Yeah. So like even with us and what it is that we've been through with yourself, with cancer, myself, with being literally obese, or both of us having metabolic challenges, we're most capable to help people like that, which is why when somebody comes in, there's not anybody more qualified than us to be able to help them get to where they need to go. And we're just even talking about earlier how we've been testing our virtual system to be able to make sure that we get the same results that we do clinically. And we've seen that the test results are in from high level people.
Yeah, put ourselves out there for sure.
Yeah, these people are in the health and wellness world. If we said their names that have done the program, you would know exactly who they are. And you will soon as we launch this out in January. But one of them, for example, he owned a chain of weight loss clinics. And here he was overweight, came to us for help. And what have his results been as a result of going through the program?
No, he called our program a miracle program, which is a heck of a thing coming from him, considering he was at the top of the food chain in this world. But it's basically what Rory was talking about, saying that I'm most equipped to help the person that I used to be. That's exactly basically what we told him, is like, listen, we're your future. We know exactly where you're headed because we've been exactly where you were, and we can tell you exactly how to get where we are right now. So I love walking around going, I'm your future. And all we're saying is we were exactly where you were, and we know what it takes to overcome that and get where we are today. So I like being around a room of people who can say, you know what, Rob, Randy, I'm your future because I was right where you were as well. And these are the things that it took. This is the intention that it took to get where I am today, where you guys want to be. So you don't have to guess. So I think that's huge when you're talking about the people. Not that you're hanging out with people that are better than you, because nobody's better than anybody, but people that have done things that you want to do, and they know more. They'll forget more than you'll ever learn in your life. I love hanging around those people because they've been there and done that. They are your future. We are your future when it comes to metabolic health, because we've been there, we've done that, and we live it.
Absolutely. You don't want to get wealth advice from a broke person, right?
No, you don't want to get it from Gary next door at Edward Jones driving a 1994 Miata.
Oh my gosh, that cracks me up. Whenever you see these like a magnetic placard, on the old beat up car, that person isn't wealthy. Not that automobile.
Who cares? Right. But
wealthy.
No.
Financial advice.
No, they're not assets. So
absolutely. So no different than anything else in life. If you're wanting to get marriage advice from someone, get marriage advice from somebody that's been happily together for 50 years, right? That's who you want to learn from. So find somebody who's doing it way better than you. Be around great, successful people who are positive, right? People who can be able to, not go into like, if you got some kind of story as to why you are where you're at, that's not going to go, oh, you're right. years ago in building a business and in building our chiropractic offices, it'd be pretty funny because we'd be training. And as we're training and we would ask like an assistant, we'd be role playing, for example, and you'd role play and go, how'd I do? And they're like, oh, that was great. I would mess things up on purpose because I was just curious as to what they were going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's because they don't know what it is that you know, and you never want to be sitting inside an echo chamber of somebody patting you on the back and telling how great you are all the time. You want a real friend to be able to go, you know what, you suck. That's terrible. Here's the things that need to be improved upon, but be around people that aren't afraid to share that.
Yeah. I dare you to try to put 25 pounds back on and see what's going to happen. I will slap the HE double hockey stick out of you.
Well, we don't have to worry about that.
We don't, but I would hold you accountable. And I know you would for me as well.
Never going to happen. It's something that I wrote down here in my notes, and it's not the next point. I'll go on the next point in a second. But one of the things that they said that I think was huge, we may have said it on the last podcast, but he said that hard times are more valuable than the good times because it's those hard times that challenge you. And if you actually learn through those hard times, then you can actually grow, because the next point is...
Well, even before you move to the next point, I think he even said you're going to have 100 times as many hard times potentially in your life than you will good times. So they're going to be there, but those are all the opportunities to develop your skill, become more resilient, which is a great thing to think about when you even think about how you frame what you're going through. Is it an opportunity to get stronger and better, or is it an opportunity to make excuses? So I think those hard times are there. Obviously, God put those in our life for a reason. So not to interrupt you, but if you think that life is all sunshine and rainbows, I don't think anybody thinks that, but we already know adversity basically is the only thing that's guaranteed. Death, taxes, adversity, and then maybe the success of our system. I'll throw it in there with death, taxes, and adversity, but it will be in your life, and be prepared for it and expect it, because it is going to happen.
Here's what I was, so I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it, because I do that a lot. However, and I think though, something that you need to see is that if something continues to keep on challenging you in your life, that right there is a lesson that you have not overcome, or an area of your life that you still need healing, right? If you've got somebody who keeps on dating the same type of crazy person over and over and over, that right there is a red flag or a sign that there's some areas of your own life that need to be healed. Or if you keep on having the same wealth issues that you were having before, or challenges, because the reality is that we get to choose whatever decision that we make on a daily basis. So we can choose better through these different opportunities, and don't keep on choosing the same thing that you were choosing the last time that you went through this challenge.
Absolutely.
So that goes right into this next point. The next point is, when you are in those challenging times, is you can sell your dream even if you're living in a nightmare, which is gigantic. And I know this firsthand for myself, because when I had the back injury and the 2 back surgeries back in 2020, I was literally living a nightmare. It was my nightmare, because being a retired chiropractor, never imagined that I, of all people, would ever need a back surgery. Nightmare. So much pain. However, every day I chose to live in the dream that I was going to be walking again, because I was down for 10 months. I mean, I literally lived either on my couch or in bed for 10 months, couldn't even see the light or sunshine outside because I couldn't get to the window.
It's tough to see.
It was bad. However, my dream was, in my mind, I would even on my computer look at pictures of the sunset. I would look at photos of myself walking. I would see people running. And these are all the visions that I have. So I could live that dream. And I was not just living it, I was first selling it to myself, so I would believe that that was going to happen, then everybody else, because so many people were sending me messages, and I appreciate all the messages and condolences and just praying for me and all those different things. And I would always respond back to them as one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me, because it's caused me to press the pause button really on life and do some self-reflection on areas of my life that really needed healing. And I would never let myself slow down enough just to be able to do that. So here I was, and I didn't have anywhere to go. I had a lot of time to think. And it was during the COVID stuff as well. So I had plenty of time on my hands to be able to reflect. And so so when they would say those things to me, I'd go, you know what, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I know that I'm going to be walking, I'm going to be running, I'm going to be playing golf, I'm going to be doing all the things that I love to do. And so it took this happening for me to be grateful for the things that I was able to do before that I took for granted every day.
Absolutely.
Like just being able to get up and walk outside.
Wow. I know. And so that kind of leads us to that next thing. If you remember what Ed Mylett said, he goes, the world will force its vision on you if you don't have a clear one for yourself. So if you hadn't defined and got really clear on seeing yourself get well and really setting that intention in motion, the world will force whatever it wants on you. You know, if the pharmaceutical industry wants you overweight, sick, docile, scared, blaming your genetics and thinking there's nothing you can do, then they've won, right? But I've set my intention that I will no longer be a victim to that system. I left that system, as you know, we both did, years ago, and I'll never go back, because if they want me sick, overweight, medicated, depressed, guess what I want for myself? The complete opposite, which is why setting that intention in motion and getting clear on what you want for yourself and the life that you want for you, your family, what does that look like? I'm not going to be a victim to what the world wants. I'm going to set the intentions for what God wants and what I desire in my heart, because I want to thrive. I want to be my best, and I want to leave that legacy. At the end of the day, what is the legacy that we're leaving for ourselves, our family, the people that we come into contact with? So the world will force its vision on you if you don't have a clear one for yourself.
Absolutely. And I want to see God's thoughts, right? I want to see into his mind. And one of the things that he said in that, to even continue with that, is he said, remember, everything first existed as a thought. So even the phone that you're listening to this on, first, that iPhone, whatever, the Android, whatever, it first existed as a thought in Steve Jobs' mind or whoever's mind it was before it was actually created. So think about what it is that you're thinking about on a daily basis, because you really have the power to create whatever it is that you want, which is amazing, versus seeing the opposite of that and going, well, today is crap, right? And so everything bad is happening to me. Well, push the pause button, take some deep breaths, and remember who you were created to be, who created you, and whose mind you get to actually work with, and that's God's mind.
Yeah, maybe it's a crap moment, but crap moments don't get to turn my day into crap days. That's just not something I'm going to allow. So just think about that think about that for a second, because when these things happen, you get the chance to compartmentalize it, process, and then go back to your intention. So yeah, crap moments are guaranteed as well, just for the record. Sometimes you get a heavy dose of crap sandwiches before your day even gets started. Eat them, move on. Now develop a taste for it and say, you know what? Now I love this, because I know now today is going to be so incredible, because it's whatever's going on right now and the attacks that are happening is the chance for me to go, you know what? Today's going to be the best day ever, versus letting it dominate your day and ruin your day.
And guess where that starts? With intention.
Boom, right there.
For myself, like I have this intention. If anybody ever sees these necklaces, like my intention, one of these says overcomer. Yeah. Right. So that's my intention. That's my identity, is that I am an overcomer. And so the first thing that we have to do is we have to get clear on what our identity for ourself is, so that we can then be able to be a reflection to other people, to be able to see that. One of the things that Ed talked about, which was huge for myself, speaking of identity, we have to think about really our communication with other people and how we also affirm other people. And one of the things that he said that he does on a daily basis is for his kids. He always says, hey, he talks about his daughter's name is Bella. My daughter's name is Bella. Right. So that really connected with me. And he says, hey, Bella Boo, let me tell you about you. Yeah. And he does that every single day as he's dropping his daughter off at school. Same thing for his son. And then he just affirms her, you're a superstar, you're great, you're amazing. And so since coming back from this, I started doing that with Isabella and my Seth's son, my son Seth. In the morning, as I affirm him and I affirm her, they were like, first of all, they're like, what's going on right now? And then you could see like they love it. And as I do that for Seth, he's pretty funny. He's like, okay, I got to go. And I'm like rolling down the window. I love you. You're amazing. He's going into school. And then Isabella, it was yesterday, I dropped Seth off and I had affirmed him. And I guess Isabella and I had been talking about something else and she forgot.
Yeah.
And we're having coffee together and she goes, Dad, you didn't do Seth, let me tell you about you. And I'm like, yeah, I did remember, because he was all embarrassed. She's like, oh yeah. So now she just waits for that. So just with the people around you, our family members, we can't ever forget to affirm them. It's always great to be able to hear who you are from someone else, but that first starts with you knowing who you are, because you cannot give what you do not already own.
Amen to that. That's well said, brother. I love it. I'm so glad that you're doing that. I've been enjoying hearing the stories of how they're responding to that. Heck, we've even done it to each other, and I've done that to other people, and just really affirming them and pouring into them. So I don't know. That's a really good way maybe to even end this thing today, because that just feels really great. And I love being around people like that. So I want to be the person that I want to be around, right? So if you're not somebody you'd want to hang out with, maybe look in the mirror and make a couple of changes, set your intention in the right direction, carve your own path, know who God made you to be. And then of course, the health component is always a byproduct of making those changes internally anyway, because when you really love yourself and you really care about yourself and you know who God made you to be, then you're going to want to take care of this body that he gave you. And of course, the metabolism and the things we teach. Let us help you with that. I really would encourage anybody who's listening, who is struggling, not just even with weight, just with chronic illness, diabetes, inflammatory conditions. You struggle with knowing even what to eat or how to operate. We've got a lot of solutions that I'm really proud of. And like we talked about earlier, we've really put these to the test. Now we have so much evidence with what we're able to do now metabolically for really anybody. And the results happen very, very quickly. So this time of year, it's never been more important than going into Thanksgiving, even going into Christmas with the things that we talked about today, but also making sure that you don't end up in a worse situation health-wise and then trying to lose that exact same 10 pounds you gain in January. Do it now, get control of this thing, and walk in through the holidays with intention. You'll come out of it a lot better.
Yeah. So here's as I was just thinking, let's end the segment this way. Let's remind the listeners who they are. So listeners, let's tell us about you. So you were created and designed to be healthy and well.
Yep.
Right. So the reality is that health and wellness is your inheritance. You're amazing. You're an overcomer. Think about all the things that you've overcome in the past. So if you're struggling today, think about all those things that you've overcome, because the reality is that, you know what? You've overcome 75% of all of the worst days of your life, because at this point right now, you are breathing, you are listening to this right now. And if you're breathing and listening to this, you have an amazing ability to heal and be well, and you are amazing.
I love that. Yeah. Let me tell you about you. If you're listening, you are somebody that I am so thankful that I get to have an impact on because of who you are. You are kind, you're full of joy, you're full of peace. You desire truth and you seek that truth. And because of that, God is overwhelmed when he looks at you, and it makes him smile so much. So know who you are. You are incredible. And we're so proud to be a part of your journey on any level that we can be. It's a huge privilege for us. I can tell you that.
Awesome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. We love you. We'll be back soon. God bless.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at The Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.